Hello there everybody, welcome back to my channel. Hello there beautiful, how are you doing today? My name is Joesephyr and today I'm going to be taking you through April in Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. Now we have a lot to cover, but the scheduling is a little bit off and we do have a lot to talk about with regards to the channel as well. And hopefully this is all stuff that's going to be exciting to you rather than scary, so I implore you guys to stick around and keep on watching for all the information, for all the stuff we have coming up in the next month. Now before we get started, of course, don't forget to check out all of my social media links in the description box below, including Twitter, Twitch, Discord, and Patreon. Over on Twitch, obviously I stream full-time, 4 to 5 times a week, ordinarily. However, next week I'm going to be taking a bit of time off from streaming and content creation in general for a few days. Anything crazy or anything like that. I just need a little bit of time to take stock, have a bit of a mental health check, all of that good stuff so that I can come back at full force. These past few weeks have been extremely challenging for me, and I do want to say a big thank you to everyone that came to my stream today where I was playing some Stranger of Paradise. We watched the community stream, we talked about it afterwards, and to the Just Chatting stream that I did yesterday as well. It's been extremely healing for me and it gives me some good guidance into the direction that I want to take in the future. So a massive thank you goes out to all of you for that. But if I'm not around next week, I'll explain the events that I probably won't be about for, but thank you very much for your understanding in advance. And of course, I wouldn't be able to say a massive thank you without saying a big thank you to all of my patrons as well over on Patreon. And as with every video, I do always give a shout out to one of my patrons at random every time I release one. And today the person's going to be Hammett, who has my boy Kuja on their title card. It's nice to know I'm not the only person who loves him. So thank you very much for all of your support, guys. You can actually now join membership for YouTube as well, which it's not anything as elaborate as my Patreon, but I do put exclusive posts out on the community tab for my YouTube as well. So if that's something you're interested in, then give that a click too. So let's get started by looking at what we learned in the community stream. Now, first things first, a massive thank you goes out to Crystal and Josh for their wonderful work as community managers. I want to say a particular mention to both of those guys because they do work exceptionally well together. Without them, we wouldn't have the information that we get. They perform on stream, same as I do, all the time, and it really is wonderful to see. And I hope that everyone, I don't take part in the Square Enix chats because obviously I do my own one, but I hope that everyone showed them the respect that they deserve. They, you know, with the whole gem cap situation and all of that, I was really worried, but my chat was really wonderful today, so really massive thank you to everyone for showing respect. They did mention the gem cap and the backlash that it's had, but rightfully so. They explained that they wanted to say something just so that they didn't feel like they were ignoring the situation, but that they couldn't really speak out on it because they are community managers. It's not really their place to do so. And honestly, I resonated with this very heavily because I felt like my silence on the situation, and it wasn't even silence, it was just relative silence, was being met with a narrative that was being written for me, and that's why I felt the need to then post a video and talk about it, even though I felt extremely uncomfortable doing so. So it was really lovely to kind of hear that resonating with those guys as well, so thank you very much for that being mentioned. Now, let's get on to some events, shall we? So, March 23rd, which is actually Wednesday, we're getting the Spring Festival, and we're going to be getting a co-op event with it, which is Cloudy with a Chance of Squall. Enough said about that name. Where we're going to be getting Clouds BT, Squalls BT returning with their C90s, and Vayne BT and Cloud of Darkness BT also tagging along for the ride. And we get free multi-draws on everything this month, which is lovely, considering that there are quite so many draws to look at. So, I won't be doing a Should You Pull video this week, because I've already done one for Cloud and Squall BT, so I shall leave a link in the description box below and post that on all of my socials tomorrow as well, so that people can go back and look at that. Obviously, it has Lightning involved in it, which we've already had, but if you want more details on Cloud and Squall BT, then you can go and take a look at that. So that's the only event that we're getting this week, but next week we're going to be getting Leviathan, which is going to be bringing Zack and Ramza, as well as Rydia and Trey, all in one big old batch. Now, Ramza, I'll start by saying, is fantastic for those of you who already have him, and even this might well be worth grabbing if you don't, because he brings the one stat that we're all chasing after right now, which is HP cap up, and he does the most that's currently available in the game, because in combination with his BT effect and his armor at Lufenia plus blue, you can then do up to 51% HP damage cap up while also doing Brave damage cap up, Brave damage, HP damage, and all the goodness that Ramza is known for. And now he deals a buttload of damage as well with his really fast charging EX, and he still has all of the free turn stuff going. He's really good. I don't need to go into it right now. We'll talk about it later. And then Zack also gets a massive overhaul to himself just by having a BT come along, which adds HP cap up, Brave damage cap up, any AoE damage getting redirected to him. He can't get KO'd. Lots of very nice things that happen to Zack, so fans of him will be very, very pleased to see this. And we also get Rydia and Trey. Trey gets, like, really good again just by having extra HP dumps added to all of his stuff with his C90, and Rydia's a weird one. Like, she makes it so that enemies that absorb water don't, even though she's a Imperil enchant character already, and she also brings Blink along in a similar vein to like what Kimari does, while also being an enchant Imperiler with extras. But as far as I can tell, up until this point in JP, her water absorb hasn't actually been super needed. And we have Garnet that also does a lot of that work as well. And a lot of people going forward are going to be looking at a combination of Garnet, Ramza, Zack, or some combination of two of them and then something else. It's going to be a big, big mess for HP cap-ups, and people are going to love it. And then, despite the fact that we're getting only one event this week which doesn't have a lot on it, and then next week we're getting an event that has Leviathan in it, which is obviously going to be a massive surge of resources for everybody, we're actually getting two events next week, which is weird, because I would have thought that it would have swapped those two over. But we're also getting Sid Reigns and his C90, which also brings Steiner's LD along for the ride as well. Now, Steiner is a big, big battery machine, but whether he is needed at this point is debatable. But Sid Reigns is Sid Reigns. He's still really good. He doesn't get all that much out of his C90, but honestly, does he really need to? He's been relevant since he was released, and his call is still fantastic. I use his call all the time, so there's a lot that comes out of that. And then on April 6th, which is the following week and is the only event that week, we're getting Enna Crow. Enna Crow is a contentious character. I've swung backwards and forwards on Enna Crow a few times, but I think that I've been clouded by my love for Emperor as to why that might be the case, because Enna Crow's main thing is that she is very slow off the bat. She summons a mech that makes her HP cap go way through the roof, but also her skill 1 enables her to potentially, on random chance, recharge her EX pretty much at random. This also transfers to a call ability, which a lot of people, you may have seen like these meme videos of people in BT phases using Enna Crow call and just spamming EXs every turn for crazy amounts of damage. But the fact of the matter is that in those situations, you actually only have a 20% chance of your EX to fill up from that. And this is the kind of RNG that I don't like. Like, I like Gilgamesh type RNG where you get something every time you use it. But Enna Crow, there's a chance, and it's not a small chance, that you get absolutely nothing out of her. So that's going to be a contentious one for people for sure. The following week, we're getting another spring co-op, which will coincide with another banner that we were expecting to come around with Zack BT, but hasn't been explicitly announced. It says here that there's two draw banners, one with new LD. The one with the new LD, I'm assuming, is going to be Charlotta, which also brings Selfie C90 along, and is probably the banner that's going to feature Zack BT as well. I could be wrong on this, and if I am, then I'm saying this now so I don't get backlash for it. But Charlotta, with her LD, basically makes her deal a lot more damage and gives her a meter where she can store bravery damage. She's a bit strange, but she's kind of one that I'm personally planning on waiting until she gets her FR and BT a few months later when we start hitting the FR era. Selfie, however, we'll talk about Selfie when we get to her. If you don't already have her, you're going to want her. But then that begs the question as to what the other banner might be. Now, I've been looking through like the banners that we were expecting from JP, and I'm looking at them right now, in fact. The only one I can think of that it could be would be the reprint that is of Garland with Orin LD's reprint as well. Like, a lot of people in chat were talking about like maybe a Stola coming forward or something like that, or maybe something even crazier than that. I couldn't tell you exactly what's going to be on this banner, but my assumption is that it's probably going to be Orin and Garland, so I wouldn't get too excited about the other one. So later on that week, so again, like the double ups of these events are a bit strange, we're going to be getting Dimensions End Transcendence Tier 8, and obviously we will cover the event at greater detail when we get to the Should You Pull video for this. But this is also going to be bringing along Terra's BT+, Laguna's brand new LD and BT, and also C90s for those two, as well as Shadow and Lena. So Shadow gets more HP dumps across the board, and pretty much so does Terra. They're the main things you're going to be looking at when it comes to those two. Terra's nice, but she's probably just more Terra. Like, if you like her, then you'll get more out of her C90 and her BT+. Lena also gets a lot more HP dumps in her EX, which makes her pretty fabulous because we already love Lena for her LD and her Winddrake's Ward and all of that. Laguna is a very interesting scenario where his LD adds follow-ups to all of his existing moves, and his BT makes it so that he puts a debuff on the enemy that's closest to, it's easiest to describe as a close link to X-Death, where if you attack an enemy that has that debuff on them, you'll trigger a follow-up move between turn, or after that's all finished, so that you get extra HP dumps on everything. Laguna's one that's very exciting for a lot of players, but I will say that while I think he's very strong, he's one of those BT characters that's really good, but a friend version of him performs just as well as owning him does. So whether you feel the need to pull on him is going to be entirely up to you. I'm probably going to pull on him because I really like him, and I'd like to have that BT to then showcase to other people and allow other people to make use of through my friend unit. Terra, I probably wouldn't green, but I don't think anyone else would be wrong to do so, and I'll just take the extra use of Lena while I still can. And then lastly, we have on April 19th, followed by April the 22nd, we have Irvin's Intersecting Wheels, which is like the true meme event, because it's like the easiest event in history. But Irvin's actually pretty cool, and it's going to come along with Saz's level 90 as well, and Irvin gets reworked to do a lot more damage, and his LD kind of makes it a bit more FF80, where he turns his Brave and HP attacks into Dark Shot and Pulse Shot. Dark Shot being a debuffing shot, and Pulse Shot being one that does a lot more damage. So he's a lot more fun to play around with than he's ever been before, and he does compete, at the very least, with the damage that he's able to deal. And Saz, I would quite like to pick up Saz this time around, even if if I've got some tickets spare, which I probably do, because I'm not planning on pulling out very heavily on anyone besides Laguna, because I'll probably BT token Zack, and the rest I'm not that fussed about. But Saz's call is still really useful, and to have access to him just because I quite like the way he plays would be quite nice. And then April 22nd, we get a raid, which is going to feature the return of Maria, who is one of my favourite units, like one of the underdogs that I never thought I'd enjoy as much as I do. And she's going to come along with Thancred, and bless him, poor old Thancred is a meme to the end, and I feel really bad for Thancred fans or Ninja fans from FF14, because he's just an unfortunate character and has been many, many times. I actually considered making a video on like characters that have never had their time in the sun, and I think that Thancred, apart from that one time where he got his EX released like 2 weeks early, and even that was a push, he's just never had that time, and that continues here. So kind of light on the events this time around in terms of new characters that are super exciting. People are very excited for Zack, however. People are very excited for Ramza, and a lot of people are excited for Laguna. Those are the ones that you really want to be looking out for here. But in terms of like anything unexpected, a lot of people were talking about Jack Garland from Stranger in Paradise being announced this month, and I never saw that happening particularly. I know there was that question in the Q&A that like made it sound like he would have been coming, but I'm fairly sure that was aimed at JP and not us. So I'm not surprised to not see him here. But we've got lots to come up with, and I will say now that I will not be available for Zack's event. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here for that, and I'm not sure I'm going to be here for the event that follows that, so Sid Reigns either. But they're not events I'm hugely planning on pulling on, and you'd probably only be watching me farming Leviathan for ages anyway. So that's going to be all for today's video. Thank you ever so much for joining me today, and let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the video that you've watched today, as well as the community stream itself, the situation as it is with banners and the gem cap and Dissidia honestly as a whole, because it's really nice to kind of gauge where people are with the game at the moment. I know I've talked about these things, you know, fairly. It feels like I've talked to them to no end at this point, but at the same time, I do love to hear from you guys. So let me know in the comments below what kinds of things you want to see from me outside of Dissidia as well. Like, I've been doing a lot of artwork stuff. You'll see my community posts. I've been talking a lot about my art. Obviously, you can see I'm wearing makeup today. And I kind of miss exploring that as well. Like, maybe for streams and stuff, I can do a bit of a Just Change stream where I can get ready with me type thing, because I enjoy that kind of stuff, and I don't know if you guys do. But just let me know in the comments below what kinds of things you want to see. And yeah, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications of any future videos I might be making. And that's going to be it from me. So a massive thank you, and I will see you on Wednesday for the Squall and Cloud event, whatever that turns out to be. So thank you very much, and I'll see you then. Take care.